you can never get someone to do what they don't want to do. And, I try not to be too prescriptive, kind of in the way I approach kind of coaching, working with people. I kind of say, here are some models, here are some ideas, try it out, see if it works for you. And I think one of the things that's clear in high performers, whether it's someone running their own business, for example, an entrepreneur, a very successful executive, even like a professional athlete, is there is a special energy that's driving them. And normal kind of ways of approaching life and work don't really apply. And one of the most unhelpful concepts, I think, for pretty much anybody, but particularly high performers, is this idea of balance, that we can achieve this state of perfect equilibrium. I think the energy that's driving a lot of high performers is passion. And there's actually a really interesting body of research around passion. And one of the most helpful models that I've found in relation to this passion research characterizes passion as either harmonious or obsessive. And I can send some links to that if you're interested. And there's actually a scale, kind of a psychological scale that you can do to measure your tendency towards obsessive or harmonious passion. And what I generally find in high performers, and what I found when I start to kind of go off the deep end in my own life and work, is when that harmonious passion starts to become obsessive. Because when passion is harmonious, you can do that really hard work, but somehow it's energizing and you enjoy it. And so if someone is in that harmonious state where they're putting in huge hours and doing massive amounts of work, but they're seeing great results and they're really enjoying it, what I'd often say is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But just be aware of the fact that this passion that you're using is a really powerful force. It's like Star Wars, it's a powerful force. It's got a dark side. And, if harmonious passion is kind of the light side of the force, obsessive passion is the dark side. And we're all at risk of tipping over there. So I'd encourage people initially, I wouldn't interject. I wouldn't say, oh, you really need to start working on this great project that's kind of, super profitable and really fulfilling, and you need to go and pick a new hobby. It's just crazy. But I would perhaps interject if someone started to recognize that they were tipping into that obsessive passion, that actually they weren't feeling so energized anymore. One of the number one characteristics or warning signs that you're tipping into obsessive passion is that you experience what I call rigid persistence. You keep going because you feel like you have to keep going. You keep going because you're really scared that if you stop, something bad will happen. And the problem is that that actually ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. Often you keep going because you fear that something bad will happen, and because you keep going, something bad does happen. We end up with kind of burnout, or even just feeling so exhausted that you have to take some extended time off and before you can recover. So it's when you start to see the warning signs of that kind of obsessive passion that I'd kind of try and encourage people to intervene for themselves. But at the same time, though, I do find that one of the greatest risks for many of us is we often think we're immune. We think we're the special case. Yeah. And there's a real, and so sometimes I think about hobbies increasingly as similar to prehabilitation or prehab for athletes. Athletes hate prehab. Like everyone knows, like we need to be doing something for our rotator cuff, right? Even if you kind of, you've got to do something. I do anyway. You've probably got your own thing you have to do, especially as we start to get a bit older. And it's boring. It's like, there's nothing wrong with my shoulder. Why do I need to do these stupid exercises with this little band? I just want to smash it, just want to do some cleans, get me in the gym. But hobbies and things like this, they're like the prehabilitation for a cognitive high performer. And it's part of this mindset shift of seeing rest as productive. It's a shame we shouldn't have to. It would be really nice, wouldn't it, if like we were like, my sense of self-worth is so complete and I deserve to rest. And for some people that works really well, and I've heard people say that it doesn't really work for me. It's probably because underneath it all, I'm probably an insecure overachiever. But I have to rest by telling myself rest is productive. This is my prehabilitation for my cognitive high performance. And it's awful, isn't it? But it seems to work for me, and it works for some of the people that I work with as well.